Welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom, your business journey with Clarita, the podcast where we will discuss valuable insights, resources, and motivation to fuel your entrepreneurial spirit. Let's build a supportive community together. Subscribe now to Begin, Build, Blossom, and let's embark on your business journey. Let's pause for a moment to hear from our sponsors. You've built a name for yourself through hard work and dedication, but does managing the business side feel like a distraction from your true passion? Are you dealing with unmanaged finances? CME Accounting LLC is here to help. We specialize in organizing your financial records, allowing you to focus on what you do best. With organized books, you'll have more time for what inspires you. Whether that's expanding your influence, building relationships, or simply enjoying life. Don't let unmanaged finances hold you back. Reach out to CME Accounting LLC today and let us help you thrive. Visit our website www.cmeaccountingllc.com or email us at admin@cmeaccountingllc.com. All right, let's jump back into our conversation. Good day. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Begin, Build, Blossom, your business journey. And today we have with us Xavier Williams. He is the owner and CEO of Alfa Financial. With nearly 20 years of experience guiding clients toward achieving their financial goals. As a licensed financial professional and an active member of the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, Xavier specializes in both business and personal finance, working with clients nationwide to help secure their financial futures. Dedicated to his own growth to better serve his clients, Xavier is also a certified public speaker and a recognized leader with Toastmasters International. His passion for financial literacy and future planning drives him to educate and empower communities. Xavier's mission is to be a trusted resource, helping people create secure and lasting financial foundations. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. And we connected through mutual group. So I'm really glad that we were able to connect that way and to today be on the podcast so that we can learn about your business.
Thank you for sharing your platform with me.
You're most welcome. So here we start with a segment we call Rapid Fire. So we'll be asking a few questions and we're hoping to get brief answers, but sometimes it's not always possible. So it's okay. Don't feel pressured. So let's get started with two words. We always like to get two words. One word that describes you now, and one word you would use to describe yourself as a child.
One word to describe me now, I would say dynamic because of the nature of the work that I do and the experiences I've had in my adult life. I've had to be adaptable to many different environments and situations, and that's allowed me to thrive in all these different settings. So I'll say dynamic is what describes me now. As a child, I would say reserved is what described me. I was an introvert by nature and a very shy individual, but I've been able to grow. I'm still introverted, but I've been able to grow out of that and be a bit more outgoing.
Okay, would you say Toastmasters helped with that?
Yes, Toastmasters definitely help with that. And just with me, with my own personal development, of watching a lot of public speakers and taking cues from them, that's definitely helped a lot.
Okay, great. And we talked about that a little bit in the introduction, but let's hear it from you. What is the name of your business and what do you do in business?
Okay, so once again, it's Alpha Pride Financial, and that's Alpha with an F, ALFA, Alpha Pride Financial. It's a consulting and financial services firm. We specialize in business and personal finance solutions. So I help business owners build business credit so they can get the financing to acquire the resources so they can grow and thrive. And on the personal side, I help people in the three areas of the financial planning process, which is protection, wealth accumulation, and wealth preservation. And between those two areas, I'm very, very busy. So I'm able to help people and provide holistic approaches to securing their financial future.
Wow, thank you. And what were you doing before you started your business?
Actually, I started my career, my professional career as an HR professional. I was a recruiter for many years in the talent acquisition and diversity, equity, and inclusion space for about 16 years, and had a lot of great experiences. That actually contributed to a lot of my growth and development because I've worked in the media landscape for 10 years of that tenure. So I've learned a lot about media and presentation and communication in general, and that really fostered and accelerated my growth and development.
Okay, great. And in your business, are you currently full time or part time?
I'm full time.
Okay. Have you always been full time or did you start off part time and then transition?
I actually started full time. So how the transition happened is after working in HR for many years, and I had got a new job for this really globally, internationally really recognized financial services firm. It just wasn't working out. I started a new family. It was just a lot of stress, so I decided to just leave that. I took some time off to take care of my newborn baby, and then decided what was going to be my next career move. And then I got introduced to this line of work, and then made the transition. I just went full on ahead.
Okay. You may have covered that already, but how many years have you been in business?
Okay, so my business has been in I incorporated my business back in 2021, but I've been in the financial services industry since 2018.
Okay, all right. Yes, I was not sure I had got if I had already got into the part of when you actually incorporated. All right. And since you've been in business, what's one of the best moments you've had?
I'll say the best moment I had was really helping one of my family members, really, one of my family members put together a good financial plan to secure their future. This is someone who we've talked for many years about doing, and they were really delaying the process. I was finally able to do that and put a really great plan in place for them. And I just felt so happy that I was able to finally do that because, being at your family, there's a certain level of extra care that goes there. So that was really a great success story for me. And at one point, one reason why I say that is a highlight for me because oftentimes, but people who are business owners may know this, but sometimes friends and family are the hardest people to sell.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, sometimes it takes a while for them to come around. So it's really nice that you've been able to help family. And on the flip side, what would you say is one of the probably the lowest moments you've had so far?
I would say like early on, not because when I came into the industry, I wasn't brought in with a tremendous amount of support and training and development. So I really struggled initially, and then through a lot of my own personal investigation and subjecting myself to a lot of training, I was able to overcome those things. So it was like the low point is really starting out because this is a very challenging industry to be a part of. So I would say that was a very low point for me, very discouraging at certain times. I felt like quitting, or is this for me? Is this going to work out? So I kept with it, and I'm happy that I did.
Okay. So following up on that, if you were able to pinpoint the one thing that really helped push you through, what would that be?
It's really relying on my network, looking at the people who are a part of my network and using them as a resource to get new clients because referrals can go a long way because you're being introduced by someone who they know and trust so that people are more open to having a conversation with you. So I was able to get my first few clients that way and just kept it going on and on, creating a snowball effect of referrals, which then allowed me to build my business in other ways.
Great. Yes, I'm really hoping we can talk about that some more later on, especially network, because that's something we hear from every person we speak to. So I always like to just cover that a little bit more. And is there one book that you'd recommend that we read?
One book, if you're trying to get into business, I would say you want to read books on sales and marketing because as a business owner, you need to have those skills. Without sales and marketing skills, you won't be able to sell or move units of whatever you're offering, whether it is a tangible product, digital product, coaching service, whatever the case may be. You need sales and marketing skills to be able to move units. So I wouldn't say just one book, it was just a book specifically dedicated to that. Marketing gets the word out there to create awareness about who you are, what you offer. Sales is what allows you to convert those people into paying customers.
Okay. And to help you with that, maybe is there a podcast or a specific book or any other resource that you find has been helpful in that area?
I know there's this guy Jeremy Liner, I believe. I'm not butchering his name. He has a platform called Sales Revolution. So he has a lot of great stuff. He talks about the new way of selling and presenting your services to clients, because the old model of presenting and selling your services is really outdated. It doesn't work anymore. So I found like his information has been really, really helpful.
Okay, thanks so much for sharing that with us. That takes us now to the begin segment. I just can't wait to hear more about how you started. I know you mentioned that you basically got into business around the time you had transition in your life. It sounded like you started your family. Was there a time? Is that when you first thought about being an entrepreneur? Or is it something you've thought about in the past, and now was the actual like the best time to do so? But it's something that you've been thinking of before.
It's something I thought about for many, many years. Actually, even from when I was young, I thought I want to own bank one day, because I thought if you own a bank, you'll have a lot of money. And then I got much older and realized that to own a bank, you need to have a lot of money already. But when I started my career in HR, it was really to so I could help people. Wanted to be in a line of business that was about helping people, and I felt HR aligned with my personality. But after doing HR for many years, I wanted a bit more, and I went through several training courses. I've always going through courses, and I went through a training course that taught me about entrepreneurship and financial freedom, and that really sparked the fire to keep me going to really pursue entrepreneurship. I've tried a lot of different businesses, but this one has been my favorite
And why do you think this one has been your favorite?
because of the learning. So it's a whole world was open to me that I just didn't know about. And when it comes to personal finance or business finance, that we're just not learning in the educational system. In school, we're taught to be good employees, but we're not really taught about personal finance and business finance, how to manage your own finances, and or even about business ownership. So this is why I thought it's been my favorite, because it's the most impactful. It has the greatest capacity to really change your life and allow you to live a life on your own terms.
Yes, I totally agree. I like that. So we talked about HR. I feel like it's a bit of a pivot to actually dealing with finances now. And in order to help with that transition, you did a lot of training. Is there anything else you think that really helped you move from? In my mind, I'm thinking as two different spaces. Granted, you do help people in both, so it's very impactful in both areas. But in terms of actually making the transition, in addition to the courses that you took, is there maybe one other thing you can think that really helped push you over to that the other side?
All right, just to provide a bit more information. So my background in HR was actually very helpful to me to make this transition, because I'm just so used to talking to so many different types of people all the time. And when you're an HR professional, you have to sell an organization, you have to sell the culture. So those are types of things that I had allowed me to make this transition, because I already had that comfortability talking to so many people from various different backgrounds. So those skills I leaned on to help me make this transition to financial services. I just needed really the more industry based knowledge to really succeed. And that's where the areas where I struggled. But HR was definitely helpful. And I would say anytime you're looking to make a transition into a new field, you should look at what current skills you have that are applicable to this new field you're going to transition to, and really lean on those to accelerate your growth.
Yes, I totally agree. And for me, I've found one of the ways you do that is I spoke to a life coach who said basically taking inventory, what it is you have that can help you and what it is you need to help you get to where you're going. So I totally agree with what you're saying. And can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how it has led you to where you are today?
Okay, so I grew up. my parents were together at first, but they separated when I was very young, when I was 5. So I was the first, and the first child and the only boy that my mother had. So from a young age, I had to assume a lot of responsibility in terms of helping my mom with my two younger sisters. My youngest sister is actually was born with illness. She was born with congenital glaucoma, which is the same condition Ray Charles had. She had her vision at first, but over the years, it got progressively worse, and eventually she lost her vision. So that created a lot of strain for the family, a lot of financial challenges, but it definitely provided me with a lot of internal strength and made me be able to weather a lot of storms and not really get stressed about when things don't go wrong, or when I'm experiencing things that may be challenging, because I've experienced so much adversity already from such a young age. So I lean on that, and I always think about what I've been through in the past whenever I'm dealing with anything now. And it's like, well, I've come through so much already. I can definitely make it through what I'm facing right now.
And when you decided to start the business, what were the steps that you took? And that question is especially important for persons who are looking to get into business and they probably just don't know those steps. So it's good to share that with them.
Okay, so when I started in this industry, I was more B2C, like business to consumer. I started off as a Medicare agent. I got a health insurance license, so I was helping seniors with their health insurance and healthcare planning. And then people get asking me, "Do you do life insurance as well?" But I didn't have the life license, so I went and got that. And then from doing life insurance, it just opened up a whole world of financial planning that I realized just getting the insurance is not enough. There's so many other areas that need to be addressed. And I realized that there's a whole business around providing those services that let me realize I need to put something, an incorporated entity in place so I can offer these specific services. And then, so after working as an independent agent for many years, then I launched my own agency, and then over the years started adding additional services to help clients. And now I'm more B2B. I still do B2C stuff, but I'm more B2B now.
Let's pause for a moment to hear from our sponsors. You've built a name for yourself through hard work and dedication, but does managing the business side feel like a distraction from your true passion? Are you dealing with unmanaged finances? CME Accounting LLC is here to help. We specialize in organizing your financial records, allowing you to focus on what you do best. With organized books, you'll have more time for what inspires you. Whether that's expanding your influence, building relationships, or simply enjoying life. Don't let unmanaged finances hold you back. Reach out to CME Accounting LLC today and let us help you thrive. Visit our website www.cmeaccountingllc.com or email us at admin@cmeaccountingllc.com. All right, let's jump back into our conversation. Okay. Huh. And as a new business owner, right now I'm solo with persons who help me part-time, but I am looking to grow. And I'm just wondering, in terms of insurance, benefits, what are some of those things that you cover in terms of helping a business person with a team, with a growing team?
Okay, so someone with a growing team, I have different solutions. So if you want to put benefits in place for your employees, I could do that. I have partnerships with what I call PEO, or professional employer organizations. And what they do is help you to outsource the benefits portion and make it more affordable to you, so you don't have to go and buy everything a la carte, which is very expensive. So they buy these large insurance policies and allow you as your organization to now join those policies and get at a much lower discounted rate. They can help you with managing your HR services and compliance issues, so you don't have to worry about doing those things on your own, and focus on working on the business versus working in the business. I can, offer things on a individual basis, like our voluntary benefits for employees who may want to sign up for those things. So I'll do that. Disability insurance, life insurance, supplementary insurance such as chronic illness, cancer. This could go on and on. There's a lot of different options out there, even retirement plans.
Okay. And if they don't have a team but just solo?
The same thing applies.
Okay. All right. Looks like I'll be calling you later because we have a lot to discuss there for sure. And maybe we can even have another conversation. So if person wants to know, more about how that works. And in terms of your very first client, what's the story behind your very first client?
Well, that client really was just a referral, talking to a lot of people saying, hey, I'm in this new space. This is what I'm doing. Is there anyone who could benefit from these services? And my grandmother, she's very active in her church and she knew of some people. And then she recommended me to some of these people. And eventually that's how I got my first client and then my next and my next and so forth.
Oh, wow. Nice. I love that. So I'm going to note to talk about referrals more because it sounds like that's very important. So I would love to chat a little bit more about that in the build segment. And before we leave the begin segment, can you tell us a little bit about your name? How did you go about choosing your name?
For at my company,
Yes, for the company, sorry.
okay, so the name, I wanted to have a name, is really an embodiment of me and my worldview when it comes to business and how you want to live your life. So one, I'm a Leo. So if you look at my, if anyone's able to see my logo as a lion's head. So I'm a Leo. So that's my horoscope sign. And I have the Leo, and then I wanted to something that's going to speak to how I want people to live their life. So I want people to be able to live their life on their own terms. You want to live what I call the alpha life. And we think about lions. Lions are very alpha. So it's all about living the alpha life, living life on your terms, and by making sure you have a secure financial foundation. Because there are a lot of people right now just not able to live life on their own terms because their finances aren't in place. Business owners are not able to really enjoy the life they want because they have set out, they just haven't achieved those things for finances and as well on the personal side as well. So I wanted people to accomplish those things and live the alpha life. And that's why it's Alpha Pride Financial.
Nice, nice. Thanks. So, as we continue in the build segment, let's talk a little bit more about referrals. So, you mentioned that your grandma referred you to someone and then it continued to grow like that. So, for someone who's starting business, what recommendations you'd give them around referrals?
Of course, create a list and look at all the people that's a part of your network. You can reach out to them and say, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. Do you know anyone who can benefit from this service? Or you could be more targeted and think, okay, what people are doing things that are in line with what I'm doing right now? Maybe they're already working in the industry that I'm in or the industry that I'm going to target. So you think about who your target market is, someone's already working in that industry. You want to reach out to them and ask them for referrals. But at the same time, if you're capable of doing this, you can offer a referral fee to entice people to make that arrangement and that introduction for you.
Thank you. And in terms of networking, referrals and networking kind of go hand in hand. Can you tell us a little bit more what networking looks like for you and how important do you think it is?
Definitely, network is important because you're able to interact with people on a face-to-face basis versus doing it virtually, which creates an additional level of challenge and barrier. Because talking to people on let's say, just LinkedIn, people say, "Okay, you have a great profile. I don't know anything about you. I don't know if I want to move forward with this particular service." So it makes it a little bit more challenging to. You have to do a lot more nurturing to convert the person. But when you're going to networking events, meeting people in person to get a feel of you as a person, and it's more easier for them to warm up to you to then turn them into a paying customer. So definitely want to do both. But you don't want to neglect the in-person interactions as well. You want to think of industry associations that you can join. Like I joined the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. I'm a part of the Bronx Chamber of Commerce now, and that's how opened up doors for me to meet a whole slew of different individuals. And think of if you want to even be how far your reach you want to be. Do you want to be hyper local in terms of who you're going to target, or do you want to be more national and reach people all across the country? You could start off hyper local, networking with people in your geographic area, and then branch out as your operations grow.
Great. And when we talk about people, maybe meeting people from even outside of our area, I think a lot about conferences. Are there particular conferences you'd recommend for people in your industry?
So NIFA, the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. They have conferences throughout the year. They even have local chapters you can join, and they'll have conferences, local conferences that you can participate in. There for people more so want to do business and commercial finance and lending. There's Debanked. That's an organization that connects brokers who are in the business and commercial lending space. They have their own large um, conference once a year as well. So you go to those events and you be able to network and connect with a variety of different people who can help you grow your organization.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Can I just add one other point? In terms of the networking, you also don't have to do um, industry specific, just your industry. Like I'm in the insurance industry, so I'm only going to go to those type of conventions. You can join um, associations for your target market. So if I'm targeting HR professionals, I could join SHRM, or I could just go to their conference, and now it puts me right in front of the people who I'd want to offer my services to. So there's another way to think outside the box and connect with the people you're trying to serve.
Okay. And typically, what would you say the reception is? For instance, if you go to one outside of your specific industry, do you find that people are welcoming?
Oh yeah, people are very welcoming, very open, because the conferences allow people to be a bit more relaxed and more open. They're there to network themselves and meet people, so people are a lot more open to having conversations and having follow up meetings afterwards.
Okay, great. Always good to know that. And let's talk about boldest move you've made since starting the business. So I know that starting the business was a really bold move, but maybe if we can just talk about another bold move you have made or maybe plan to make, if you don't mind sharing something, if there is one.
Or I would say transitioning from B to C to B to B, because interacting with clients in a B to C versus B to B situation is a lot different, a lot more challenging. With B to C, you're typically dealing with the person who makes the buying decision straight out the gate most of the time. But when you're doing B to B, it's a much more complex selling and negotiation process. You have to go through several meetings to even get to the decision maker before a decision can be made. So I would say that was the biggest challenge, or the boldest move, I would say, to say I'm going to be more B2B versus B to C.
Okay, certainly I can see that being very bold indeed. And in terms of your team, what does your team look like?
Well, I do a lot of freelancing, so I have a lot of people who are freelancers, independent contractors. What that does is allow you to keep your costs low, and a lot more flexible in terms of how you manage your operations. So a lot of freelancers, so I have people who are helping with appointment setting, people who are helping me with marketing, people who are helping me with content creation. So a variety of different individuals I tap. So I have a huge network of individuals I can go to for anything that I need.
Okay, great. And so I was going to ask, how do you manage all of those things? So it sounds like you covered that. It sounds like you do a lot of delegating. So you in there are certain areas where you get other people to assist, and I'm guessing accounting is probably one of that. But I also heard social media, some kind of administration. So can we just talk about that a little bit more in terms of even how you went about finding these people? Did you have to go through different people to get to the right one who can now you can now depend on? Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely as an entrepreneur, you have to be able to delegate, which is one area they say entrepreneurs tend to struggle with, because you want to do everything on their own. Especially when you're starting out, you may not have a lot of capital to hire a team, so you want to do everything on your own, but it really impacts your growth. But the moment you realize that you have to delegate and outsource as much as you can, it'll allow you to grow much faster. So for me, some of these people came to me and I have a kind of conversation with them. I was like, oh, your services would definitely be a benefit to my organization. So I have I then established that relationship. Other people, I went and looked for them and found them via LinkedIn. I also use Fiverr heavily. So there's certain things that if I need done creatively, I can always rely on someone on Fiverr to do that for me. And for anyone who doesn't know, Fiverr is just a website for freelancers and people with very special skills to offer them to people who are paying customers. There's Fiverr. There's also Upwork, freelancer.com. There's a lot of websites out there like that.
Okay, thank you. So before we move on to the blossom segment, I just wanted to find out if there is maybe one struggle. I know we covered some already. Like, it sounds like even uh, you know, delegating was not so much a struggle, but well, I don't know if it was a struggle, but it sounded like it's some you did put something in place to help with that. Um, but is there one struggle you'd like to highlight?
I would say the marketing side is always a struggle. Marketing, because you want to focus so much on the doing the work that the marketing side can suffer because you have to get the word out there. And with the way marketing works nowadays, you have to be so active on social media. There's all these different channels. So managing all of that can be a huge challenge. And you have to also be consistent. So you, because we have people dealing with people who are very short attention spans, who are will easily forget you if you aren't active. So I would say marketing is definitely a struggle. Consistently putting out content and making sure that you're engaging with clients, and that's all across the board. And most entrepreneurs will tell you that, but they just want to do the work.
Yes, I agree. And we are going to now move on to the blossom segment. And that here I would like to just find out, what does success mean to you?
For me, success means your business operating independently of you, whether you want to or not. So I think that's the stage that all entrepreneurs want to get to. You want to make sure that your business can operate independently of you, because maybe one day you want to sell it. It'll allow you to transition out of the company, and what it also does is give you the flexibility to be more present in other aspects of your life, so that you can really enjoy the fruits of your labor. So for me, that's what success is: really having your business, getting it to the point where you can step away and it can still run as if nothing happened, that you're not there, but business is still taking place and doing it efficiently and effectively.
Great. Yes, for sure. And that takes us nicely to the closeout segment. And that is where we like to ask, are there about maybe three tips you'd like to share with someone thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, or someone who's already an entrepreneur but just needs that extra push?
I would say, first determine if this is something you will have the time to do, because that is really important. You may have a great idea of something you want to do to service people in the community, but whether or not you have the time to do it is really key, because if you don't have the time to commit to consistently doing it, you're going to struggle. So that's one. Two is to find out if there's a demand for what you have to offer, because if there's no demand, you will not be able to sell. There's nothing to offer. You want to take into consideration, of course, your competition as well. And the third tip really is, like I mentioned before, really invest in sales and marketing. You want to have that put in place, because that's what's really going to allow you to grow and get revenue. Because you need to, at the end of the day, the most important, the number one reason for going to business is to generate a profit. And you need to have marketing, sales, and marketing in place to do that. And you want to have it as automated as possible.
I just heard you say the word automated. What does that look like for you?
So automation is, now you're talking about having your marketing running, whether you're manually doing it yourself or not. So you're having what is called sales funnel, where people are maybe opting in or for a particular giveaway or something that you're offering for free, just as a teaser to let them become more aware of what you have to offer. And then you send them follow-up emails or text messages or even calls to get them to book an appointment. And then from there, you turn them into a paying customer. Or if they aren't ready to buy yet, do you have emails and follow-up communication that's going to continue to nurture them, so that when they are ready to buy, they you can now convert them into paying customers. So that's automation all across the board, as well as even maybe on your website. If someone reaches out to you and maybe you're not available at the time, do you have a way to still communicate with them, provide them with value, and so that you don't lose an opportunity.
Yeah, those are definitely very good things to keep in mind. Those are things we can kind of ignore, probably not know of. So I'm really glad that you mentioned that. And I'm going to look into that myself. There are some things I definitely need to work on. So thanks for sharing that with us. And part of what we do with this podcast is to encourage community. And one of the ways we do that is by connecting guests with listeners. And we always ask, would you be open to someone reaching out to you and you giving them some time to discuss, yeah, either entrepreneurship or your particular industry?
Sure, anyone can reach out to me anytime. You can just send an email to info@alphapride.com. That's my email. Or you can just visit the website, learn more about what I do, and get in touch that way.
Okay. And are there other ways that persons can meet you? For instance, would you like to share your social media handles?
Oh, sure. So I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook at Alpha Pride Financial. So Alpha Pride Financial on all of those platforms.
Okay, great. All right then. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us. But actually, before I leave, is there anything that I did not ask you that you would like to cover?
No, I think you were very thorough in your questioning. So I think we covered all the bases.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. So now we're going to say thank you for spending time with us. And we look forward to speaking with you again as you continue to grow in business. And have a good day. All the best to you. Thanks for listening to this episode of Begin, Build, Blossom, Your Business Journey, a CME Accounting LLC podcast. Please subscribe and be on the lookout for our next episode. If you'd like to share any feedback with us, please email us at podcast@cmeaccountingllc.com.